up, family, and welcome to another episode of The Limelight with me, Jatrissa Shanice. And on today's episode, we speak to a female DJ who's making a name for herself in the Atlanta market. She made a few stops in New York, and now she's back in her hometown in Atlanta to take it over. You don't want to miss it. All right, welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Limelight. And today we have Naja the artist. She's a super dope DJ out in Atlanta. We met one night, and I stalked her ever since, and she doesn't even know it. So welcome to the show, Naja. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So please, let's dive into your life a little bit. Let's dive into the life of a DJ, especially being in the Atlanta market. So first of all, how long have you DJed? Let's start there.
The end of this month makes a year. So it's been a complete year that I've been DJing.
Nice. Okay. So in a year, do you feel like you learned a lot, or you feel like you're still learning, but do you feel like you learned a lot within that year?
Absolutely. Yeah. Playing at clubs, restaurants, and just environments where there's just a lot of people coming and going. You kind of have to adapt like immediately to the crowd reaction and who's in the crowd and who's walking by. You kind of have to know what music to play and know how to transition out of songs pretty fast if need be. So just a lot of little tips and tricks you learn just being in front of people when you're playing. So yeah, definitely learned a lot.
Nice. And so when I had ran into you, you were playing a lot of dance hall, you were playing a lot of Afro beats, and like you just had me on my feet the whole entire time. So is that the genre you kind of stick to, or do you stick to all genres, but like do you have one or the other?
Well, I play mostly dance hall type gigs, like dance hall, reggae, Afrobeat, and then I also play a lot of house too at other places that I play at. So I'd say it's mostly Afrobeat, dance hall, reggae, and house music. Nice. It's like what I stick to. Yeah.
All right. And okay, because you mentioned categories of like, different genres of music. So is that important in DJing? Like, is finding a niche important, or are you like, the more you know, the better?
Oh, when you say niche, you mean like the kind of music that
like a genre, my bad, a genre.
Okay. It kind of depends on what the venue wants, honestly. It depends on what the venue wants. Before they book you, they tell you, we need to hear reggaeton, like, all reggaeton, no Afrobeat, or we need to hear nothing but Afrobeat, nothing else, you know what I mean? So it kind of depends on who books you and what they want. That's kind of what I stick to be honest.
I feel like it's fair to say it's better to know more genres, so to diversify yourself.
Definitely already be a music lover and just be listening to a lot of different kinds of music already, so that you have an idea of what people want before you jump in. Yeah.
And you being a music lover, is that kind of what got you into wanting to be a DJ and pursuing this career?
Absolutely. I listen to all kinds of stuff. Listen to a lot of experimental, electronic, soul type stuff, like Little Dragon and like Sir and FKA Twigs and Jesse Boykins and Chris Turner. I could go on and on, you know what I mean? But getting more into playing for money and DJing for money, you kind of have to constantly be in the know of what's coming out, like what's new, what's coming out, what's on the forefront, what people are listening to, dance hall, Afrobeat wise. So yeah.
Makes sense. And so do you find that it's difficult to DJ, like, or can anyone do it? Like, or do you have to practice and practice and practice to kind of, perfect your craft?
I think it's easy if you have a natural talent for it. If you already have an intuition for music and knowing what sounds good, what would blend well together. I wouldn't say anybody could do it, because you have to be fast. You really do have to be fast when it comes to transitioning out of songs and going from one channel to the next, but once you're in front of people, that's a whole nother story. Like you could practice by yourself, in your home, just alone. But once you're in front of people, that's a completely different story, because people are kind of judging you based on the next song that you play, how you transition out of that song, and then what the manager wants, whoever the manager is at the time, you know, they will text you while you're playing, like, oh, you need to speed it up. Oh, this is too slow. Oh, you need to transition out of this and go into another genre. So that can be kind of nerve-wracking. You know, so yeah, I would say anybody could do it. But if you love music, then I think it would come natural to whoever just loves music, you know.
Well, you know, first of all, I just want to apologize to you then, because I'm one of those people in the crowd, in the club, that's like, what are they playing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I'm one of those people, so I'm sorry, because
Me too. No, me too. No, I'm the same exact way. Like, I'm definitely judging the DJ every single song. I'm judging the DJ, you know. But a good DJ is someone who makes you forget that you even have to judge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just dancing, you know, for a straight hour. That's a good DJ. Someone who's like, okay, I'm not even worried about the next song they're gonna play, because I know it's about to be some fire.
Nice.
You know.
And so, in addition to being fast, because you mentioned, you know, you have to be quick. How is, like, do you practice meshing the songs together, like seeing which sounds well? Because I feel like sometimes I've been to clubs and the DJ, I can listen. I'm not a DJ, but when it mixed, I can hear that those songs did not go together. Like, it just did not transition well. So
definitely,
is that another thing that, you know, people should practice, you know, when wanting to become a DJ?
Definitely practice what you think would sound good, or what you know would sound good, but also leave room for experimentation. Sometimes you just have to get out there and try something. Like, you may have an idea to come to you that, you know what, this might sound good, let me just see. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know, but if you're confident in your skills, then you can kind of freestyle, you know, live, and see what kind of works. Sometimes sometimes you can hit a home run, sometimes not, you know. So
so I have to ask, don't be upset, okay, but I have to ask, so, and be real, like, do you consider yourself a real DJ, right, in compared to, you know, old school DJs? Because when I think of old school DJs, I think of vinyls, I think about scratching, all of those things. But when I think of modern DJs, it's like, I don't know, you guys are pressing buttons. So it correct me if I'm wrong. So let me know.
I don't consider myself a real DJ compared to the DJs of the 80s, basically, when DJing kind of exploded, you know, because scratching itself is an art. Scratching is an art, you know, and not being able to understand turntables and vinyl and how that meshes with an actual mixer in between, and the two decks, and how to, if you don't have, for me, if I don't have a screen in front of me where I can see the waveform of the song and I can see my cue points and see where I'm starting, you know, I would be lost. You know, so I salute actual real DJs who can do it analog and don't need a screen in order to catch the beat, you know. So yeah, that's a whole nother world that I don't know about.
Really quick, you brought up a point that I just started thinking about. So you said you look at a screen and you mesh the beats together. So that's how you're getting the songs to be in sync with each other? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. You can see the waveform of the song on screen in front of you, and you can see where the song is about to begin. So you set your cue point, which is a marker, basically, that once you press the pad, the song will begin at the marker that you set it at. So you can kind of see where you're starting, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you said starting out, you said you have been DJing at like restaurants and events and things of that nature. So do you find that it's difficult to find gigs on your own? Like, or do DJs need managers? Do you guys need agents? Or is just you find them on your own, word of mouth, references, things of that nature?
Sometimes it depends on how hard you want to go, honestly. If you don't have a manager or somebody who just knows people and has connections and can get you gigs, then yeah, you have to do it on your own. what I was doing at one point was driving around the city and seeing places. I'm always scouting for like restaurants that look interesting that I might want to DJ at. Write down the name of the restaurant, get the phone number, and just have a whole list of places that you might have scouted while you were out driving throughout the day, whatever. Write down a list of all those restaurants, clubs, whatever, find the phone numbers, and then just go down each number, call every single restaurant that you wrote down, and just have a script. So my script, I don't really remember it because it's been a while since I did it, but hi, my name's Naja. I'm a DJ in Atlanta, and I was wondering if you guys were looking for a female DJ for a weeknight or a weekday. And a lot of times you'll get a gatekeeper, and they'll be like, send us an email. So then I'll have a whole email already drafted, so I can just hit send. So yeah, it's a combination of calling and emailing managers and gatekeepers, and also going into the restaurants, physically walking into the restaurant and introducing yourself. I've gotten gigs that way too, but you have to hustle. Like, you really have to hustle for those gigs. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're kind of like elbowing your way into an establishment, so to speak. So,
and thank you.
That's kind of how I've gotten all my gigs.
No, perfect. And thank you for that. That's what I was going to say. Like, just can you tell them how you have been getting some of your gigs? Because, everywhere can be different. Every city is kind of different probably. So, and speaking of that, I mean, have you only stayed in Atlanta, or have you taken your talents to other places?
I've only played in Atlanta. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've only played in Atlanta. Yeah. I've been to New York as a guitarist, singer, songwriter. A few years ago, I moved there 2016, and I was there for a year and a half. And I was playing guitar in the subway stations, going to different open mics and singing and trying to promote my projects and stuff like that. But ever since I moved back to Atlanta in 2017, I've been I guess I started DJing privately by myself in 2019. So yeah, it's been since I moved back that I've been DJing. So I haven't taken it anywhere else.
First of all, I admire you so much more now. Like, you really know what hustling is. Because it's so funny. Yeah. Like, I was in a dance group because I'm from Boston. So like, I was in a dance group, and we would do stuff like that too. We would dance anywhere. We would dance all the time. And we did not care. You know what I'm saying? It is just like, it really was a grind. I've seen in New York, I've seen the musicians in the train station and stuff. So that's crazy. So first of all, how long were you in New York?
For about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay. So is that what brought you to New York, so that you could do that job?
Yeah. That's what brought me to New York. Yeah. I was playing around town, and one day I went to these different barbershops in Southwest Atlanta, and I made like $300 in like a couple of days, just singing for donations. And I was like, you know what? I could take this to New York. So I just moved to New York on a whim, thinking that I would blow up and be discovered in a barbershop somewhere. But then I quickly found out that that's called soliciting in New York. Okay. So you can't just walk up in there, because a lot of places, they don't speak English. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? It's like a lot of Dominican barbershops and stuff like that. So they don't look at it the same as like they kind of do down here, where it's like, oh yeah, come on in, sing. They don't really do that here. So, yes, it was a whole different ball game in New York.
But honestly, I think that's dope, and it just adds to your journey. It adds to your story. So that's so dope. Okay, and you can sing. Like, can we hear some? Okay, I'm not gonna put you on blast like that. But do you have any like audio forms of you singing?
Yes, my SoundCloud. I have 3 projects on SoundCloud of me singing, all self-produced projects. Yeah.
I'm gonna check them out. And it's crazy because I was on your SoundCloud, but I couldn't help it. I stopped. You know where I stopped? I stopped at the mix, dance hall mix, and I stood there and we was just playing throughout. So my bad. I didn't continue.
I appreciate that.
But I'll go back now. Now I'm gonna go back. And okay,
Yeah.
if I give you my real critique, my real opinion, you can't be upset.
Please do. Yeah, no, please do. I'll send you the links to the two that I really like. And you can tell me what you think.
I love individuals who can write, who can sing. Like that is just so. Oh, I can't sing. That's so dope. Okay, sorry. So let's get back onto it, because I mean, you just took me somewhere else because I didn't know that about you. You didn't tell me that fun fact.
I know.
So I didn't know that, and I just think that's super dope. So okay, can you tell people? All right. So let's kind of go back there just a little bit, and then we'll move on. But
okay.
So you kind of you were kind of in the music scene in New York and in the music scene here in Atlanta. How do the two differ? What do you feel about New York versus Atlanta? Like if somebody wanted to do in New York and then versus here.
Like DJing or just being an artist in general?
Artist in general.
I would say New York is a lot more saturated with just amazing artists. It's not just people and like, you know, regular folks in the audience. It's like oversaturated with dope artists everywhere you go. Train station, this, you know, subway, on the train. It's like just regular everyday folks are just incredible at what they do. So that can be kind of intimidating. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have to be pretty confident in your skills to go up in front of so many people, because this was before COVID, you know, that I went. So, I mean, packed houses everywhere I went, just packed with people, you know. Atlanta's a little bit different because obviously it's not as many people in the city of Atlanta as there are in New York. But I think we're a little more forgiving here because we're so trap centered, trap focused. I feel like we look out for our own here. In New York, it's pretty much like you kind of you gotta come with it. You gotta come with it. It's like the Apollo. It's like the Apollo Theater everywhere you go.
How does it feel to be a female in like a male dominant industry and male dominated industry? How does it feel?
It's bittersweet because for one, you know that you stand out. You know what I mean? You know that there's something about you that's different. Obviously, being a Black woman in the industry is unique in itself because there's not a lot of us, you know? So it's kind of like, it's a great thing. And sometimes it's not so great because you're expected to like really show out when you're in a crowd full of male DJs. And I was in that situation recently where it was kind of like a showcase of maybe about 5 other DJs. And so I'd say about 3 or 4 played before me. And then when it was my turn to play, it just felt like all eyes are on me. And it was like, okay, you better kill it type vibe. And then there's the skeptical kind of eyes that you get from people. It's like, oh, we got a female coming. She might not be that lit. She might not be that hype. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think there's a skepticism that comes with it that makes it kind of hard because you're looked at as like, you know, oh, she might not be lit like this other, you know.
Well, I can tell them that's the case with you. All right, I can attest for that one. So
thank you.
I must ask, has there ever been a time where you were somewhere and everybody, they just wasn't feeling it, they weren't feeling you, you knew it, but you just had to keep going?
Yes. That happened twice. I could say in this last year. I don't want to call them out because I don't know who's watching and who's not, but and a lot of times like it depends on the song you play, because sometimes they might not be vibing to one song, but then you play a different song right after and like the whole place turns up, but it's still because of the song that you played before, you're being judged on that. And a lot of times it's management that's texting you like, yo, this isn't what I want. You need to hype it up. You know, this is whack. Well, not this is whack, but like, you know, you need to up the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had that happen a couple of times where I kind of got a sense that I wasn't as crunk as I should have been, you know, but also the parameters weren't clearly defined for me as far as what I should be playing. So if they tell me, oh, it's a hip hop night, that could be anything. You know what I'm saying? That could be 2017 Drake, or that could be 2021 Pooh Shiesty. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of have to feel the audience. But sometimes, like, you know, I could be feeling the audience. Me and the audience are vibing, but management isn't vibing with me. So that can be, you know, a detriment, unfortunately.
I think that's also interesting. Bless you. I think it's also interesting that you say that, because see, we don't know that a lot of the time you guys are also in communication with management the whole time while you guys are up there. So sometimes it's like we're mad at you, but it's like it's not even y'all, it's them. And
it's yeah.
Know that. So I mean,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to say, like, okay, if you go into a gig and you know you get the gig, is it fair to, you know, kind of ask the managers, like, okay, you want me to play hip hop? Should I play like older school hip hop, or should I play modern day? Like, is these fair questions to ask before you get?
Not while you're playing. Not while you're playing.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ask that while you're playing. Those are questions. That's a whole conversation that should have already been had. And as a DJ, it's on you. It is on you to have had that conversation, because it's not always going to be that plainly drawn out for you, because managers have their own business to run, you know, and admin stuff that they're doing. So they need you to come in already being fire and knowing what you're going to play and knowing how to play it, you know? So if you're asking a bunch of questions while you're playing, that's just not a good look.
Ask the question beforehand, not in the middle of the set.
Yep.
Okay. And so as a DJ, do you guys have to have like a DJ reel? So when you're shopping yourself around, do you have a reel, or is it like, okay, you come in and you're doing an audition right on the spot?
The reel would come in the email that you send to them before you get the gig. So your email should have, you know, a little background about who you are, possibly a resume, and then a sample of your mixes. And then, so hopefully they would have already listened to that before you come in for the first audition, quote unquote. So then while you're doing the audition, you know, hopefully they have an idea of what kind of DJ you are, so that they shouldn't be caught off guard. Did that answer the question?
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It did answer the question. And for those who are just starting out, I'm kind of piggyback on it. So for those who are starting out, what should their sample reel, like, what should their samples look like? How long should they be? Should they stick to one genre? Should it go from old school to, again, modern? Should it stick, you know what I mean? One, you know, year, like how does it look?
If you already have mixes on SoundCloud or Bandcamp or however you have them out, it depends on the venue that you're applying to. So if you know that you're trying to play at a venue that's mostly house, make sure the mixes you send are house music mixes. Basically, you know, you don't want to send them reggaeton and this is a house music venue.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, make sure the music that you're sending them for them to listen to is a sample of what they can expect when you actually come in to play.
You know, for those, again, who want to get in this business, I always ask, what are some pros, what are some cons to your career field? Or things that you have experienced that are pros and cons?
Oh, so many cons. No, I'm kidding. No, I say cons first. Locking people into a contract is hard to do. Getting a guarantee out of a venue that I'm going to be playing here for the next 3 months, guaranteed every Saturday, every Sunday, whatever day you set. A lot of people don't want to sign contracts, you know? So a lot of venues starting out can be word of mouth, not word of mouth, but under the table type of payment deals. At least for me, it's been very hard to secure that. You know, there's one person who was like, you know, I signed a contract with a DJ before and it was a horrible experience and the contract was just sitting out there and I didn't know if they were going to hold it against me later or sue me or whatever. He kind of, I don't know, he kind of went off the rails with it, but people don't want to change. They don't want to fix something that's not broken, you know. So that can be kind of a thing. And then also, if they don't like you and you haven't signed a contract with them, then they can just end your gig. You know, they can end your duration with them. You know, you could have one bad night and that could be it. You know what I'm saying? So that can be very frustrating. So you have to always have a backup plan, or a backup gig, or just always have other gigs coming down the pipeline, or be working on other venues that you're looking at, and keep following up with people. So that's another con I'd say is getting the runaround, getting the runaround a lot, you know, where they say, oh yeah, we want you. Yeah, you'd be great. This is great. Okay, so call me on Tuesday. So you call them on Tuesday and like straight to voicemail, you know what I'm saying? They for the next week or two. So that's kind of a con, is people saying yes but not meaning it. So yeah, that's a thing. And then pros, the pros of the industry would be making connections with really dope DJs and other DJs, because other DJs can help you get gigs, you know, they can teach you what they know, and they're very compassionate. If you make a good connection with a good DJ, you know, they can be compassionate to what you're going through. So that's always a good lifeline to have, networking wise. Also just the sheer joy of being in a creative field and making money from it. I think that's like the biggest pro for me.
And so,
you know,
what can if you don't mind me asking, what can a night look like when in terms of pay? Because I know it can range from event in hours and, you know, that nature too. So what can the range look like? What does the range look like?
Anywhere from making $150 for 4 hours. I've done that. Or I've made $150 for 1 hour of playing. So it just kind of depends. But the going rate for me, my starting rate was $50 an hour. Yeah, I mean, I'm still getting my feet in the water. You know what I mean? It's still very new. It's still very new for me. But the more I play, the better I get. You know what I mean? And just from doing it every week for the past 6 months, I'd say, playing every week straight for the past 6 months, that'll definitely grow you, you know, so I'm thankful for that.
So like, what are your hopes then? Like, do you hope to be like a resident DJ somewhere, or like, what are your hopes?
International, taking it international. Yeah, I want to play in Mexico. I want to play in Cancun. I want to play in Tulum. I want to play in Dubai. I want to play in Africa. You know, just taking it as far as I can go and being able to comfortably do it full time. And then I think it'd be nice to be on the radio. I always thought it'd be cool to have my own like radio segment, you know? So kind of like what DJ Ja Lion is doing. He's been at the Peacock. I think the Peacock used to be called Black Lion. I'm showing my age. But Peacock used to be Black Lion on Auburn Avenue. Now it's Peacock. I think, don't quote me on that. But Ja Lion's been doing it for a long, long, long time. And now he's international. He's on the radio. Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to the work crew, Xavier Black, DJ Hourglass, Jash J. Shout out to Team 50 Entertainment. That's my team. And they throw 4 or 5 parties now at the Peacock So I've been blessed to be part of some of their parties and events. But yeah, I'd like to be like some of the artists, some of the DJs I look up to who do it full time and are just hella creative with it, you know, like hella just innovative with what they do.
Where can the people find you if you're interested in giving out some of your social handles, where people can hear your music, hear you singing, hear your DJing, you know, just want to, you know, find you in general?
For sure. You can find snippets of me DJing and singing, I guess, if you go, you know, way far back on Instagram at Najatheartist, Najatheartist, all one word. And then that's me on every platform. So you can go to SoundCloud.com/Najatheartist to find my projects, my musical projects and things, and my DJ mixes. What else? I wouldn't say Twitter. I'm really ratchet on Twitter. So there's nothing creative on there. But no, SoundCloud and Instagram would be the best way to check out my music right now.
Well, I love that. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking the time to come here on Limelight and chat with us and giving some gems to people who are interested in the business. I appreciate it. And like I said, I will be coming up to the Peacock to be seeing your show. Yeah,
come through next Friday. I'm playing 11:30 to 12:50, so it's an opening set, but it's gonna be packed anyway because it's always packed. So yeah,
let's do
come
it.
Through.
I'm coming for show.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
No doubt. And thank you all for watching Limelight. You know where to reach me. You know where to find me on JSWTV on all your social media platforms. Do everything that you do on social media and YouTube on this video. And until next time, we are out.
Bye.